Hi, my name is Greg and I'm back. This is the end of week 2 of the coding bootcamp. We did a lot of JavaScript. A lot of it was building some basic web pages and like this sports ball is the first one we did for our daily project. We built just a basic web page and then we incorporated some basic math in here and some functionality to make some buttons like add to here and then you draw it, the number each time you click. So 4, 3. If you add 3, it goes up by 3, etc. And then you can subtract 1 from it. I don't think I can go negative. Yeah. So we did JavaScript, mainly math, some basic math here with, yeah, just functionality of the buttons. And then, yeah, once a team gets to 21 or higher, they win and it resets the score. So, yeah, home team wins. And then you can always, I did a reset button to just wipe it out. So that was it. This was our first one, super basic. I'm still screaming. You can see that we did some like basic stuff and then we refactored it to make it a little bit easier to use with each team. So we sent in, I think it's called a parameter or an argument, one of the two. And each button just sends in the number. So they're sending in 1, 3, or -1 to the function. And then this function says, hey, take the points that were sent in and go ahead and use it for logic here. And home is another variable we assigned up here. So that was fun. Super basic, but got our feet wet and taught us how to like refactor things. What you see 2 or 3 things doing the same, like home +3, away +3, away +1, home +1. You're like, all right, well, what's changing other than the function name, which is doesn't matter. You're basically doing the same thing. You're plus adding, you're console logging, you're taking the whatever inner text, and so then you're setting it equal to it, which was pretty easy overall. We got our lecture in the morning. They kind of did something similar. They didn't do like a scoreboard. Oh no, actually, we were off this day, so this was all just watching a video and then making this afterwards. So that was pretty cool. So I'll close this one. This day 2 was an ice cream shop. I feel like that's what we did next. And where's my ice cream shop? Here. We had to, they did something similar, but they had like cards, and you click the card to add it to your order here. So we went over arrays in this one. So this is an array, and it has objects inside of it, and each one of these with squiggly braces is an object, and they're paired variables. So like name, and then here's the value, name, value, name, value, name, value, right? So, and then the first object inside of an array is sitting at index of 0. So like it's the first spot is called 0 because computer started at 0. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's like technically there's 6 objects in here, but it only goes up to index spot 5 because it starts at 0. So we learned how to loop through an array. So this is a for loop. Um, there's a shorter way to write this. I don't know if we do it here or the next day, but they had us do a lot of for loops to learn those. So we loop through our array and we get different values out of it. So we loop through our array here and then we assign our array at the index spot. So every time we loop through, we just grab the first object. So I'm grabbing strawberry for the first time and then we're inserting into this constant variable we made called item. And so it throws the whole object in there. So now we can go into that object and we can say if item and you use dot to grab a part of it. So you're in the first object and you're grabbing, here it says item.name. So we're grabbing the name and that should return a strawberry for the first time you go through this loop. Then the second time you go through it, it's going to grab so instead of 0, it's going to add 1 to it. So it's going to be I of spot 1. So that would be mint because 0, 1. So it'll grab the name and return mint. And so it's just adding them in here and then we console log it just to make sure that this is running how we think it is. And we put in what index spot we're at and we put in item just to see the whole object to make sure it kicked out. And then, oh, it's drawing the order, which is this function down here, which lets the item name content. These must be defined somewhere. Oh, right, literally right above it. Okay. So these are going out to the index, sorry, the HTML or web page and grabbing the element by ID, and we gave them all unique IDs. So where's my ID here? Yeah, ID is options for this one. ID of order list, but it's probably going to be in here somewhere. I haven't looked at this since Tuesday, so this was our Tuesday project. What if we look here? Let's say item name, item quantity, item cost. Yeah, so item name. Oh, I think that's doing this one. Item quantity, item cost. So that's probably, actually, it should be at the very top here. Let's just see where that goes. Anyway, so we're going out and grabbing them by their name so that we can then put them equal to and we can draw them. So like item name content, going to be down here. We're setting the inner HTML of this item name list, which we went and grabbed by here. We're going to set equal to this variable name, what we put in there, which is item.name. So probably going to be our strawberry if we add it here. Yeah, so it's going to throw strawberry in there. And if it were mint, it throws mint in there. Vanilla. Then we have sprinkles, chocolate chips, and cookie chunks. And so we had to grab these buttons, tell us what object we're grabbing, and then we throw that information in here. And then we can see that this goes up. Yeah, and make sure our grand total goes up. So super basic again. A little bit more in depth with grabbing places and throwing them in and then setting them to draw. Every time you click a button, it has to redraw the whole thing so that it gets updated. But it goes through and it cycles through. I'm pretty sure the draw, yeah, it cycles through your array, only grabs quantities that are greater than 0. So let's place order wipes this. So every time I click that, it's going to go through the array, but it's going to say, oh, strawberries have a quantity of 4, so let's draw that. And it gets to mint, and it's like mint doesn't have any skip, vanilla, skip, sprinkle, so it's skipping anything that has a quantity of 0. So it won't draw those. That was interesting to figure out how to use an array to loop through those. So that was day 2. Well, Tuesday was our first day technically, but if we had Monday, which we should have, they had a Monday lesson. So this is day 2 lesson. Pretty fun. Took me a little bit to figure out this whole drawing part and getting like lines to show up, which I think are just HR tags, which somebody said was deprecated, so we have to figure out something else to do. But for now, that still works. You put an HR tag in there and it draws this line underneath. So that was the ice cream shop. Then we had a sports betting game for day 3. I think this was Wednesday. Let me see. And this one was interesting. Totally like a bigger array we had to work with, and they gave us all this stuff. So this part of it they had built out for us. They let us copy paste it in to work with, so we didn't have to go through and make this all up ourselves. But the rest of it we had to do. So we had to loop through and use the emoji to draw them on the screen, and then we had to figure out all the logic behind getting, like, we start with $100 and you can place like a $5 bet, and if you lose, like, it subtracts, right? Or if you win, it adds it. Oh, I lost there again. If you don't have enough money, so I can't bet 100 because I don't have 100, but you can bet it all. So I can bet 90 if I want, but I lost it, so I lose, and then it resets to 100. The high score wasn't part of it. That was a bonus one they had us do if we got done a little bit early, which I did because after doing the ice cream shop, this part wasn't terrible, but getting the emojis to draw into the right side because we randomized it was pretty cool. We got to put in our own little snarky comments here for like the Windows alert if you lose. Um, yeah, you've lost sign money. Sucks to be you. It's kind of rude, but it is what it is. So let's see. I'm going to bet it all here. Double. There's a lot of them over here. They each have a secret skill value. You don't really know. So I just usually go with whichever has the most. I know the tiger and the dance study have a lot, so I usually bet on one of them. Oh, look, my high score updated. So I lose. It should, yeah, it keeps that overall. So that 1600 won't go away till I beat it. And that was hard, figuring out the logic to that, the high score part here. I don't think we used anything super new in this one. We still used for loops to go through, and we still used logic of if statements. I don't think we used a switch statement in this one, but they said we could for certain things, but I don't think it ever came to play for this one. So yeah, win or lose or tie, but I don't think I've ever seen a tie happen. Yeah, so that was it, grabbing things at inner HTML, with different variables was interesting. So you can also close the window when you lose, they taught us, and that just literally closes us out. I thought that was mean. So I just took it out. But yeah, they're like, if you want to stop them, I was like, well, betting is an addiction. Get some help. Was my little snarky comment here at the bottom. But this was a fun little project. It took us a while, but had a good time with it. And they're like, you can go add your own players and stuff if you want to make it more unique, but not getting the actual logic behind these buttons and everything to work and the different bets was a lot of fun. I am not great at the graphics of this and having different stuff in here and how it fits together and looks nice. Not my strong suit, but it was good times. So there's day 3. Day 4, Thursday, was a group project, which was really cool actually. So this is where one of my cohort people was really great. He during a lecture, he built this, the interface for it, not the interface, the screen, the web page essentially. So he went and got these little pixel arts and made a Star Wars themed game. And so we just had to do the logic behind it and do the JavaScript for it as a group. And that was really cool having him actually have it all built out ready to go. And at the end we added in music. And I hope this doesn't play loudly, but let's see. I might be able to hear that, but I'll turn it off. So we were able to get music to go. It does autoplay, but it also auto mutes, which is interesting. So anyways, this was our group project where you had to, honestly, they just wanted you to have your characters up here who they're going to die. It's going to say, do you want to restart? Yeah. Lose, try again. So we had to figure out the logic of having characters, and we made an array with them, of course, with our objects, and they had a power level. And so we had to take their power levels and combine them. So we just did 5 for each just to make it simple and something we could check. So 20, 5, 10, 15, 20. So every time we click, it's doing 20 damage to Vader. He's level 1. When he dies, he comes back at level 2 and gets a health increase. So he starts out with 100 health. Now it should take us more than 5 clicks. Yeah, 6, 7. So he has over 120 health for that time. And he's giving us a little bit of gold each time he dies, and that increments up, which lets us buy a force heal so we can come in and heal people to get their health back up to 100. So he's doing, oh, this is something we learned that was cool this time. So this was set interval, which lets us run a function. It gives the function instructions, we're not invoking it, we're just giving the instructions here. And then we set in milliseconds the time that we want it to run every 5,000 milliseconds, which is 5 seconds. So every 5 seconds, it's running this attack heroes function, which I think it's just doing damage to all of our heroes at the same time, if I remember right. Yeah. So we're going to loop through the heroes. This is how we do so it's a for each now instead of a for loop. It's basically a for loop. It's exactly what it is, but it's a shorter way of writing it. So we're going to go through our heroes array, which is cool. And then we're going to assign them to the variable hero. And then we're going to say for our action that we're doing down below, we're going to say hero.health, subtracting from Vader's power. So subtracting and then adding back, subtracting Vader's power from the health, sorry. So their health is going to go down by Vader's power every 5 seconds because this is how often this is running. And then we're going to console log it. We should have taken that out. And then we're going to check to see if our heroes have died. If their hero, and that should be like if their health is equal to 0 or is less than, then it's going to say kick out and say you lose, try again, right? So if not, I think it just does nothing. What we're doing here, heroes don't health. If heroes don't health is less than or equal to 0, set it to 0, and then dead heroes plus plus. I don't know what this is doing. Oh, if all the heroes are dead, then you lose. Okay, that's what we're doing. So assuming we healed one of them, just get one of them alive, we would still be able to play. But like, let's see. By a force heal, we'll just heal Luke. So the rest of them should die. Anyways, there were some things we could have done to like increase Vader's power, but we didn't. Every time he dies, we just increase his health to make him take more clicks to kill. So that was cool. We're just rambling at this point. So that was our group project. Very cool to just figure this out together. And like I learned a lot just talking to each other and like, hey, how do you think we should do this? And we had to like sound it out versus just in our head the whole time. So lots of fun. So that was our boss fight. And then our Friday project, which was solo. It's our big checkpoint, is what they call it. We're gonna get graded on tomorrow. I'm excited to see how I did, but I wouldn't show this, but I don't think anybody's checking these from my cohort, so I'm just gonna throw mine up here. It's called Moon Miner. And they said we based it off this one called Cookie Clicker, kind of. So you click something and you get a resource for it. And so this is we're mining the moon for cheese, and we're all doing the same thing. Moon miners, we can reflavor it if we want, but I didn't want to do that. I'm not going to put a ton of effort into making this unique when they just want to check the functionality of what we've learned. So like 11 things we had to get to work, and like we had to have 4 different upgrades we could buy. I have some other ones down here that I did extra just because I wanted to try something else. So they basically get so that you can mine more cheese faster. So now my clicks are worth 3. If I buy another one, they're now worth 4 because it's going up by 1 every time. And then you have to show it on the screen. Well, I bought 3 of these pickaxes, so I have 3 extra power. Why is my power 4? Because I started at 1. So that's that. Then you go buy a better pickaxe that's worth +2. So let's get to 50 really quick. Yep, so there's +2. I go up to 6. It shows that I get 2 power from my 1. So now I'm getting 6. 6, yeah. If we wanted to, and these all work. Here, I'm just actually, so I'll just go back up here and we'll set our cheese at like 50,000. We'll go 60,000 so I can show the rest of them. So we can buy these cheap miners, which then start auto mining 10 every 3 seconds, I think is what we set this to. Oh yeah, that's fine. So our set interval down here. Where's my set interval? I put it in a function somewhere because I was actually, because that's one of the things I modify, so I had to go change it. Well, it's probably right up here, decrease in roll time. So we have, yeah, this is a little bit more advanced. They didn't tell us to do this part yet because, like I said, this was extra, but I wanted to, they told us to do the set interval, collect automatic upgrades, and the interval value should have been 3,000 for 3 seconds because they wanted it 3 seconds so they could see it happening and I have to wait like 5 minutes to check our thing on Monday. But I set mine to 3,000 initially. They should be doing it every 3 seconds. We're getting more. And so you can get some, say I went up to 20 or +20, so 30, so it should go to 50 now. So I should be getting 50 every 3 seconds starting now. I included a speed decrease or speed increase for auto mining. So it now dropped to 2,400 milliseconds and then 19. So every 2 seconds essentially. I think you can get it down to like, I don't have enough cheese, but down to like 2 milliseconds if you upgrade it like 30 times. So it goes really fast. So right now it's like every less than a second I'm getting 50, right? And the other thing, so all these work, we get all these different add-ons, and if you don't have enough money, a different alert comes up each time. And then I also made a special one to give us a new planet, which is worth 5 clicks. So 4 times 5, 20. So I should be getting 20 every time I click, which I am. And so this way, when you get to kind of a stalled point with the regular moon, you can upgrade for 50,000 and get a ×5 moon and then gain a lot more cheese. So I thought that was pretty fun. There's a lot of things I would like to do actually and build out a game kind of like this with different planets or maybe not even planets. I would have different objects that give you different materials. So it wouldn't all just be cheese. But anyways, this was a fun project. I really got into this one. My UI does not look like theirs, but it has all the right increments and tells you what you need to do. And then they told us to look at it and see how it looks on mobile. And mine does not look great on mobile. So you can set the different mobile sizes here, or different screen sizes, sorry, not mobile. But if you get small, this is like a mobile. And you can see like it does not look good. Buttons are still kind of there, and it looked even worse before I was tweaking it, but like the buttons were all smushed. I made them like a minimum value of width. Yeah, it's like the move's just so much bigger in here. I need to update some of that. This was like not a requirement, but it's like something you should be considering at all times is how things look on mobile um, or small screen sizes. So there's that. That's our project for this week or this Friday and weekend, and it was fun. Sorry, not boss fight. That one we already did. Moon Miner. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, so wow, this is a really long video. Sorry. really quick, I'll just go over. So we've learned a for loop, and then we learned a for each, which is a for loop, but that's written faster. We used a filter and a find. I didn't use a filter in this one, but I did use a find. Yeah, so we're going to go out there, constant found pickaxe. So we're implementing some stuff here, but we're going through and find let you look through this array click upgrades. So we're going to look through the click upgrades. We're going to find the pickaxe name. So we're going to assign it to pickaxe, just kind of like for a for loop where you assign it and you say, hey, make this variable, this new array. And then we search the pickaxe.name that was passed through. And we're going to say it has to equal um, pickaxe.name. Oh, so we're looking through each one is name and we're assigning what was passed to us. We need to find the one that was passed to us. And then when we do, we go out to, and I made the names the same as what I made on the index IDs. So then it goes out and it finds the ID and it says, hey, put this in the inner text and put the price up there. So it's going to be like upgrading our price. I think that's what this one does. Yeah. So you notice that the cheese goes up here. So it costs more and more each time. And that's what this is doing. It's just saying, hey, go draw the new price. So that's what finding is really good for finding the specific one in there you want to update and do stuff with. So that was a new thing we found and worked with. And then, like I said, I did the set interval a little bit differently. Nobody else did this, I don't think, because it wasn't a requirement, but it was something that was kind of cool. I asked, like, how would I do decreasing this? And they're like, well, just make the value a variable, of course. And then here's this thing called interval ID is basically setting an interval to a variable, kind of like what we do with the for loop where we set it to a variable, make it a new object. Well, this makes it our set interval. And then you can go through that and you can make a function that says, hey, clear interval with the new variable name, and it stops it. So it's going to say, instead of every 3 seconds, it's going to delete that. Now there's no auto time. So then I went through and I said, hey, I want that interval to be times 0.8. So I want to make it smaller, right? And I'm rounding. And then I'm going to set the price. I'm going to update the price again times 1.2. So make it more. Then I'm going to take that interval ID and I'm going to set it equal to the same thing with a new interval ID that I updated here. So now it's less, and that's why it goes down to 24 and then 19. So it's going down by 20% every time, it looks like, speed-wise. So yeah, that was fun to figure that part out. Overall, learned a lot of JavaScript, learned some basic functions, for loops, for each, find. So they're called array methods, and they're basically built functions that are already out there that are built into JavaScript that let you do things with your arrays. So you don't have to figure out a way to write those. It's already done for you. So pretty cool. I learned a lot, had a lot of fun this week. It's definitely more my jam than building websites, as you can see. Like I'm not great with the UI yet. So, but I did get things spaced-wise, and I feel like this looks decent enough. Um, so I'm excited to show it off on Monday and see what they think. So I'll be back next week. We are learning, it's called MVC. I don't know what, I looked ahead a little bit because they let us view the stuff for the next week. And it's a way of keeping everything organized. So, because they're saying like this is just a hot mess in our organization. So we're going to figure out a way to format and make things different JavaScript files and maybe even style sheets for different things. I'm not sure exactly, but it's going to be a way to format and keep our stuff organized. So people can come in and look through things and it makes logical sense why things are where they're at versus just having everything in one JavaScript, because this is really messy and trying to find things in here is not great. Yeah, so we'll see. Anyways, I will see you all next week. Adios.